Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to the channel once again. Today we're doing our first ever review video, and we're going to do a spoiler-free review of the Cloverfield Paradox. I just finished it only a couple hours ago. I actually went through and did a whole marathon of Cloverfield series so far. I'm also going to do a review of the other two movies. I figured why not? I mean, if I'm doing this one, why not do the other two? I also just watched for the first time 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I get more of the storyline now. I get how that movie was connected through the ending of that movie. I won't spoil it. But we're here to talk about the Cloverfield Paradox. So if you guys didn't already know, Super Bowl happened today. If you didn't know that and you're living in America, you're clearly living under a rock. But the Super Bowl was today, and they had a special Super Bowl ad for the Cloverfield Paradox, which is Cloverfield 3, which just the biggest surprise out of all this. It wasn't just the announcement of it, but Netflix picked this movie up, and they were like, hey, guess what? After the Super Bowl is finished, you can watch this. Come to Netflix, you can watch the movie. You don't have to wait. I think that was just the most exciting part about this whole movie, was that I got to watch it right away. I didn't have to worry about waiting 2 months in pure suspense. And speaking of suspense, this movie, this movie is awesome. Now, most people will consider the Cloverfield series to be a horror series, and you may even have some people say that this is a sci-fi horror or a space horror. I don't consider it that. There were some horror elements in the movie because some people die. Not going to tell you who, but some people die, and I guess you could kind of consider that a little bit of a horror. But to me, this movie was a sci-fi thriller. Now, this movie does a great job of being what I'll just say is a Cloverfield movie. And what I mean by that is a movie that every time you get an answer, you're only left with more questions. And that's one thing I absolutely loved about the first movie, and I actually really like about the second movie, and of course that I love about this movie. Now, this movie does a lot in the way of answering questions from the first movie in particular, or even a little bit on the second movie. Not as much for the second movie, but the ending of the second movie, where we find out how it happened. So if you haven't seen the first two movies, the first movie was about a monster invading Earth, and the second movie was about a woman who was stuck in a bomb shelter, basically, and had to escape for reasons. And then when she gets up top, she realizes there's aliens on Earth. And maybe that is a little bit of a spoiler, but I mean, it's a Cloverfield movie. It's not that big of a spoiler. That's what the whole series is about, is these aliens. Technically, that's what this series is about. I say that very loosely. But this movie does a great job of explaining the crazy how it happened, and then continues to leave you with even more questions, which is awesome as hell. I love that. I wanted to say that all of the actors did a great job. There were some fantastic big-named actors in this. You had now I can't remember everybody's names, but yeah, I don't remember everybody's names, so it'd be just useless for me to try and tell you who they are. But go when you go and watch the movie, or if you go to watch the movie, you'll understand. You'll know immediately you'll definitely recognize some people. There's some very familiar faces in this movie, which is awesome. By the way, this is on Netflix. This is on Netflix. This movie of this scale is on Netflix. Holy shit. Okay, so I'll end up doing an entirely separate video, but I just want to quickly touch on it. I just think that Netflix is starting to really knock things out of the park. Last year, at the end of the year, they released a movie called Bright. If you hadn't seen that, it's a really cool movie with Will Smith, directed by David Ayer. And it was just, I think to me, it was the first Netflix original movie that was like full-blown theatrical blockbuster style, like summer action movie. Like it had a definitely nice budget because this was a very theatrical movie. Like if you go and watch it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And this is I don't know. Maybe I haven't watched that many Netflix movies. All the Netflix movies that I've watched that are like Netflix original movies so far have been like comedies. I've watched a couple of comedies, and yeah, of course, those comedies are like just as good as the comedies that you could go to watch in the theater. But now they're starting to get into the other genres and other stuff. And Bright was, I think, the beginning, and I think this is a major step in the right direction. And I hope there's more. I hope they keep doing that stuff. I just think that's great. But yeah, the Cloverfield Paradox, you can go watch that on Netflix right as soon as this is done. And I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm probably not going to tell you anything more about the movie because riddled with spoilers. Just go watch it. I can tell you this. It is about a crew in space. They're on this special space station. They're trying to find an answer to the world's energy resources. They're having a problem with the energy resources in the world, and they do something on this space station that changes everything. And I mean, it changes everything for this series too. I'm not just talking about in general for things that in their universe or whatever, but I'm talking about this changes the whole movie series. There's so much now that J.J. Abrams can do. I'm a huge fan of all three movies right now. I absolutely, definitely was not disappointed by this movie. If you're a fan of the first Cloverfield movie, this is not a found footage one. This is more of a regular direct, kind of movie. This is, it's got a little bit of a different feel to it, but it is 100% a Cloverfield movie, and I mean a 100% Cloverfield movie. So go check it out if you're a Cloverfield fan. So overall, I loved it. Everybody did a great job acting. I think they had amazing actors. Once you go to see the cast, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, these guys are great. I know some of these actors. Some of these actors are great actors. They did a great job acting. That's one big highlight. I liked what they did with it. It's different. It's very different. The whole theme and setting, and it also it makes you want more Cloverfield. It just it makes you want more Cloverfield. That's the biggest takeaway, is that it makes you want more. So definitely go check it out. Of course, on my channel, I don't know if you guys know this, but I have another channel called The Lincoln Rock Show. I also do reviews over there, music reviews, all like hard rock, heavy metal, that kind of stuff. And I have a special review scale where I go from 1 to 12. I also have a video over there explaining it, and I will have a video on here with one of the vlogs that'll explain that for this channel in particular. But what my review scale is it's a 1 to 12. And I know that sounds a little odd. It's usually most people are 1 to 10 or 1 out of 5. But I do the 1 out of 1 to 12. So we're gonna get into that right now. I would give this movie a nice 9.5 out of 12. I was gonna say 10, but I'm gonna give it a 9.5. It's an amazing movie, but I just don't want to rate it too high because I don't think it was one of the like a mind blowing movie. But I really do think this is a fantastic movie. It's definitely worth a watch. As long as you don't even really have to know much. You don't have to know anything about the Cloverfield series, but it would be very smart to go at least watch the first Cloverfield movie. You definitely don't have to watch the second one to understand this movie at all. You don't really have to watch the first one, but it would definitely help, like I said. So definitely go check those two movies out, then watch this one. It's on Netflix, so if you have a Netflix account, or if you have a friend or a friend of a friend that has a Netflix account that lets you borrow it, definitely go check it out. There's also fantastic stuff on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, check this movie out and check out a bunch of other stuff. Stay tuned to the channel. We're going to keep going over more stuff. And there's another Cloverfield video going up soon after this. It's going to be a slightly longer video, and it's for our first discussion video ever. And then there's also going to be another review. It's going to be for the series on Showtime called Shameless, if you ever watched that. I'm going to be going over the 8th season. They just finished it, and I'm going to be doing a review of that. But anyway, guys, thank you for checking out the channel, for checking out the video. I hope you enjoyed the review. And I'm sorry I couldn't tell you more, but trying not to spoil anything. The next video, the next Cloverfield video, will be balls deep with spoilers. So anyway, just thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed.